Welcome to Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel. A YouTube channel where we share stories of hope, inspiration, and determination from ladies who have already gone through their breast cancer journey so that we can inspire those who are still on the journey to know that not only can life be good after breast cancer, but it can be better than ever before. I am your host, DeVriend. I am a two-time breast cancer survivor, now 16 years in remission. And today we have the amazing and gorgeous Jennifer. Jennifer, I just butchered your name.
It's okay. It's DeVriend. So like friend, but with a V. DeVriend.
Jennifer DeVriend. I love it. We have Jennifer DeVriend with us here today. And Jennifer, we're just going to have a candid conversation, talk about what your experience was like with breast cancer. And so the first thing I always love to ask, because I believe that it helps ladies watching to relate to us, I always like to ask the age of your diagnosis and the type of diagnosis.
I was diagnosed when I was 44, and I was diagnosed with DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ. I was very fortunate. It was contained. And they told me that it would not be a major life-changing event, but when you hear the word cancer, we all know it's a major life-changing
It's
event.
a major life-changing event. As much as we don't want it to be, like nobody wants to hear the big C word, right? So I love that you shared that. Like they said it's not going to be life-changing. It was life-changing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me, what type of treatment did you opt for?
So I'm going to give you a little bit of background before I
Okay.
do my treatment options. I was a high risk patient. So I was on the high risk protocol for monitoring, which means that in addition to having my yearly mammogram, I would also have an MRI, so 6 months apart. And the reason I was high risk is because when you look at the women in my family, on my mom's side, every female going up the chain has been diagnosed with breast cancer. Same with on my dad's side of the family. I don't have as much history on my dad's side, but my grandmother, she was also a breast cancer survivor on my dad's side.
Okay.
We had the genetic testing done, and we do not have any of the genetic markers that have been identified.
Oh, wow.
But we have that strong of a history. Um, I had my MRI in November of 2022, and they found a lump in my right breast. I had a biopsy, and it came back benign. It was normal. They said, "You're fine." In March of 23, this was literally 4 days before I got married. I had
Mm.
an MRI. It was a Monday. We got married on Thursday. And Tuesday, I get a phone call saying, "We need to set you up for ultrasound, biopsy, and potentially a mammogram." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. Did my test results come back?" And she says, I don't have the report. I was told that I need to get you scheduled ASAP. And that's all she had. So I'm signing on to the portal. I'm trying to find information, and nothing was there. So I called the oncologist that was following me, and they had the report. And they told me, they said, "Well, as she's reading, she says, it looks like an area measuring 7.2 centimeters lit up on your left breast." And I said, 7.2 centimeters? And she says, "Something always lights up on the MRI. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine." So I said, okay. So we get married on Thursday. About a week and a half later, I have my biopsy. And remember, this was my second biopsy.
Right.
It
The
was
first one was benign.
First one was benign. And the radiologist who did the first one told me in the room, he said, I'm still going to send your sample to pathology, but it's a fibroadenoma. It's not cancer. You're fine. You're going to be okay. This time it was a different radiologist, and she was very matter of fact. She told me, I'm so sorry that we're meeting under these circumstances. She didn't make any comments about the tissue that she removed from me. And she said, I'll call you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got that phone call, I was sitting at my desk at work, and she said, I'm so sorry to have to tell you, but you do have ductal carcinoma in situ. And I cried.
Of course.
And I cried. And then I had to clean my face up because I had about 50 learners at work with me that day. And I had to finish out the day with them. And then I shifted to, I have to tell my husband. We haven't been married for 2 weeks.
Right.
And I have to tell my kids. And I'm like, well, I'll tell my husband, but I want to process first, right? After I've told him, before I tell my kids. And that night, before I even had a chance to really wrap my brain around what was happening, it's amazing how kids are intuitive. And when the kids were saying goodnight to us, my son hugged me, and I was like, oh, don't squeeze too tight. I'm still a little sore from the biopsy. And my daughter says, so you're all right, aren't you? And I said, yeah, mom's great. Everything's fine. And she says, so you don't have cancer? I don't lie to my kids.
Right.
And I told her, I said, mommy's fine. Everything's going to be fine. My son, Jonathan, says, Bella, mom said she's fine. And my daughter said, mom didn't say she doesn't have cancer. I need to hear her say it. And as soon as I looked at her, she knew. And she hit the floor. Like we had to pick her up off the floor. And to try to walk her through and my son through, everything's going to be okay. Mom's going to be okay. When I hadn't even had a chance to really process it, told me when I go to the oncologist to talk about treatment options, for me, my only option was to be as aggressive as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
They told me that my left breast could not be saved, that I would have to have a mastectomy. And when she said that, I said, take them both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go through this again. I can't put my kids through this. I can't put my husband through this again. Take them both. And so I had a double mastectomy, and they placed expanders because I wanted to have reconstruction. I never wanted to have implants. I don't have anything against them. It just didn't seem like the route I wanted to go.
And that's fair.
I opted for the deep flap, DIEP, where they were going to remove tissue from my abdomen,
mm-hmm.
transplant it to my breast.
Mm-hmm.
And that was originally scheduled for December 22nd of 23.
Mm-hmm.
And about 3 months or so after my double mastectomy, I started to notice that the left side of my chest was larger than the right. And I'm thinking, well, I know, it's not supposed to be perfectly symmetrical because the expanders are just to stretch your skin. And then another week went by, and I'm like, this is kind of significant. So I call my surgeon. They asked me to send pictures, and they were like, can you come in today in an hour? I said, hey, I'm on my way. And they removed, it was about 275 cc's of fluid off of the left side of my chest. And they said, we've got to put you on an antibiotic. You have an infection. I've never been on stronger antibiotics, Steve. And I was on those antibiotics for about 3 months. and they were doing everything they could to move my surgery. And to give you an idea of how I was feeling during that time, every day I had a low grade fever. It's almost like how you feel when you have the flu.
Mm.
Any energy, but I still was working. I'm still a mom. I'm still a wife, right? Life is still moving forward. There's so much happening. And I got to a point where I didn't think that I could do it anymore. I was that drained. I'm like, I don't know if I can make it to December 22nd. And I had gone back to my doctor for them to check me one more time, and they had said, well, we're going to have to keep you on the antibiotics because we don't have any openings. We're going to do the operation in December as planned. And I left there defeated with my head low. And I'm walking down this long hallway, and I hear somebody say to me, are you okay? And I stopped because I didn't even see anyone in the hallway. And she says, do you need a hug? And I turn around, and this beautiful woman with just the most lovely smile on her face. And I said, you know what? I said, I do need a hug. And I walked up to her, and she puts her arms around me, and I cried. And she shared a little bit of her breast cancer journey with me. I shared a little bit of mine. And she says, she said, this is just a test. And I looked at her, and she said, but it's not the kind of test that you think it is. And I said, okay. And she says, God just wants you to lean into your relationship with him. Can you do that? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And she gives me her business card, and we part ways. And I'm telling this story because God is so intentional. And he puts people in our paths right when we need them to show us, I'm here and I've never left you. And when I got home, yes, when I got home, my surgeon called, and they asked me if I could have surgery in November, literally in less than 2 weeks. And I'm like, there's no way to explain that but God.
Absolutely.
But God. So I flap November 17th, and it's a tough recovery, but it was so worth it. I had a very, I'll say it was smooth, even though it was tough. But I'm here, and I'm up, and I'm about, and I'm so blessed and so thankful for everyone who is involved in my treatment. All of the connections that I've been able to make through this journey. I never would have been where I am without going through what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, again, aggressive was the way to go. I am cancer free. They were able to get clean margins with surgery. They took a couple of lymph nodes just to be safe, to make sure that I was clear. And I am thankful that I took the aggressive approach.
I love it. I
Yes.
love it. Now, Jennifer, did you have any chemotherapy or radiation?
No chemo and no radiation.
Awesome. So you went radical and just double mastectomy. You can have them both. I don't want to deal with this again. I don't want to put my children through this again. I don't want to put my husband through this again.
Yes.
I mean, golly, we just got married. I'm taking this thing too far already.
We went through more in our first year of marriage than some couples go through in 10 or 15 years. I'm like, can we just maybe, like, we didn't even have a honeymoon. It's like focus shift, cancer treatment, right? Like, this is our full focus. So, but My husband, he is my rock and he is my teddy bear, and he was
Oh,
by my side every step of the way. He never left me. There for every appointment, there for all of the after surgical care, anything that I needed. And even with me being, back on my feet, he hasn't changed. He hasn't wavered.
I love that for you.
He is my other blessing because God made sure he found me at the right time.
Knowing that you were going to need that foundation, that strong foundation, and that support for your upcoming journey. I believe that God makes no mistakes. And one of the things that I shared on the last interview that I did was I love that every single woman that has come on this platform so far has given God the glory for where they are at this stage of their journey. And so I love that's the theme that wasn't planned, but I hope that it gives a woman watching the reassurance that she needs, that if you just lean into your relationship with God, God will see you through,
Absolutely.
right? So tell me, what lessons, Jennifer, if any, you learned on your cancer journey?
As scary as it can be, um, no matter what your prognosis is, that you can find joy. Um, and joy feels so good. I I feel like I've always been a thankful person, but going through my journey, I've found myself when I pray, sometimes I just wake up in the middle of the night and it wasn't even about, praying for my treatment. It was about thanking God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And not just for what he's doing in my life, but what he's doing in other people's lives. And when someone's talking to me and sharing with me and I hear a need, can I pray for you? Or if someone in their family is going through something, what's their name? I'm going to add them to my prayer list. And just, staying up for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and thanking and praying for others and seeing the joy and the blessings that that brought to my life. That that is so huge. So huge. And it doesn't just impact my personal life. Um, Yesterday at work, I was debriefing with my trainees. I've got 36 right now. And they told me, they said, your voice is so soothing. You should,
It is.
they said, you should read, positive affirmations. Like you could do that for me every day. You should be on, a radio show reading stories or, something. And then somebody said, do you ever like scream? Do you yell? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say that I've never screamed, but what's the point? I mean, it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't.
I'm like, anger, it doesn't feel good to me, and there's no way that it can feel good or help whoever it's directed at. And I told them, I said, I'm in my second marriage. And in my first marriage, we were married for 12 years. And there was a lot of screaming, a lot of talking down to. And when I was finally able to get away from that, because I finally realized that's not what God wants for any of his children, right?
Hmm.
I really focused on showing my kids that there's another way.
Mm.
We can talk. And after we talk through something and figure out what could we have done differently, we move forward. We don't punish and continue to punish for the same mistake over and over and over again.
Right.
Because all that does is make people live in fear. We don't talk down to people. We're kind. We love people because that's why we were put here.
I love it. I love it. I just want to recap. So, Jennifer, what I heard you say is, and I hope this audio is all right because I keep getting this feedback, but I heard you say that you can find joy
Yeah,
regardless of what the diagnosis is, regardless of what the prognosis is, regardless of what the doctors are saying, you can still find joy. And the way that you found joy was through service to others and giving gratitude and thankfulness for what God is doing, not just in your life, but in the lives of others. And that's how you held on to your joy. I
yeah.
love that. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. So tell me, Jennifer, what it means to you to thrive and how that shows up in your life.
Thriving for me, Dee, is embracing every day. Family is so important to me, and not just my children and my husband. My father in law lives with us. My parents live about 5 minutes away from us. My brother's like maybe 10 minutes away from us. Um, we spend a lot of time together, and being able to show them where I am and how I'm doing and feel their love and have them embrace me and for me to be able to embrace them as well. Um, that's how I thrive. Being able to pour into others and letting them know, even if they're not on a breast cancer journey, everybody is going through something,
Absolutely.
and letting them know, hey, this is not always going to be, right?
Absolutely. This too shall pass. This is one chapter in your book. It is not the whole story. I love that.
Yes. And being able to share that, right? And showing people through what I've been through that they're going to be okay too. That's how I get through my days. I also have four of the cutest little dogs you'd ever want to see. And they keep me company and keep me smiling with their little personalities. Um, I do, like I already told you, I pray quite a bit. Um, I don't have to be sitting with my head bowed to pray. I could be walking down the sidewalk. You'd never know. And
Absolutely.
I am giving him honor and praise and thanking him and just enjoying everything that God has provided for us to enjoy, right?
I love it.
That is what thriving is to me, and not being afraid to step outside of my normal box. Um, for example, this past Christmas, I love to bake. I baked more this past Christmas with my daughter than I have in years.
Oh,
I didn't have a ton of energy, so I had to spread it out, but it felt so good. We baked things that we had never baked before. You know, usually I do, standard things, chocolate chip cookies, pound cake, apple pie. We made chocolate cake. We made sugar cookies with the royal icing, pecan pie.
oh
I,
wow.
we baked so much over the holidays. I made eggnog. I took over the family duties of making eggnog. So I was able to do so much, and that was about a month and a half after surgery.
I was gonna say that was pretty soon after your surgery, right? Because you had your surgery in November, and
Remember?
then Christmas was
Yes.
shortly after.
And that was God. That was nothing but God.
Absolutely.
Me the strength and showing me how to spread my energy so that I didn't exhaust myself and I could still get that wonderful, wonderful time with my family.
Oh, I love that for you, Jennifer. Yay. Yay. So tell us what you're up to now, now that you're on this side of your breast cancer journey.
I am back at work full time. I am
And what do you do, Jennifer?
I work for a major insurance company. I am a training team manager.
Okay.
I have anywhere from as few as maybe 20 people under me to the max I've had about 102. people under me reporting to me. Um, and really, I focus on showing them the culture of the company that I work for, which is really amazing because we are very family oriented. We see the human side of people. It's not just work, work, work. And I get to show them that from day one. And it feels really good.
I love that for you.
And when my learners open up to me, I'm able to show them who I am as a Christian. And I actually shared this with my boss. It was about a week ago. It was our last one-on-one meeting. And I thanked him because he's the only supervisor I've ever had who wasn't afraid to show his Christianity.
Mm.
And I told him, I said, please don't ever stop. You are a breath of fresh air, and it feels amazing to be able to see you share who you are as a Christian, and for me to be able to reciprocate, and not feel as though, well, I'm at work and it's not allowed, right?
Right.
And I told him, I said, I've always shared my Christianity, but I've always been cautious because I need to feel out my audience first. Um, so it was really nice to work with someone who was like, well, you don't have to be Christian, but I am, and you're going to know that I am. And I love
Right.
it.
Right.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I'm going to do the Susan Chicoman in November.
The
So
walk.
yes, so I'm preparing for that. And so that's super exciting. It's pretty intense. Um, and other than that, I want to be able to smile every day and hopefully make somebody that I run into smile too. Nothing. It doesn't have to be anything major, right? It's the
Absolutely.
tiny things that can make the biggest difference in the lives
Well,
of others.
well, honey, with that voice, I'm sure you make people smile all the time.
Thank you.
I agree. You should be doing podcasts or meditation videos or something. So, um, and especially for those who are on this journey, right? That would be a great um, give back. So, just something to think about, Jennifer. Just something to think about.
I certainly will. Thank you.
So, this has been an amazing episode of Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel with Jennifer DeVriend, where we talked about having breast cancer and being on this journey as a mom, as a wife, as an employer, as a manager, and still finding joy while you're going through that journey, through showing gratitude and grace for others and giving thanks to God, not for just what God is doing in your life, but in the lives of others around you, right? Because our community is so important. And when they're thriving, they can put little ripple effects out so that we in turn can benefit from their thriving as well. So I love what you shared about how important family is to you. Family is so important to me as well. So thank you for bringing that piece into this conversation.
Absolutely. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for letting me share, Dee.
Oh, my pleasure. And I hope that some woman out there on her breast cancer journey listens to this episode and know that you are not alone. You have sisters in pink alongside you, but more importantly, you have God alongside you, and just lean into their relationship, because I believe that these divine disruptions, that's what I call them, these divine disruptions from God are merely just an opportunity for us to grow in God, and it's going to instill something in us that we need to develop us for our next chapter. So I believe that everything happens for a reason. These divine disruptions happen for a reason. They're one story in our book, our one chapter in our book, not the whole story. So thank you, Jennifer, for sharing with us today. I hope anyone listening is blessed by this episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you like what you've heard and you'd like more inspirational stories like these, please like, comment, share. Don't forget to turn your notifications on so that you can know when new episodes drop. Thank y'all for tuning in. And remember, we're thriving on purpose. Bye for now. For more inspirational stories like these, please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to turn on your notifications. Thank you for rocking with us. And remember, we're thriving on purpose.